media is changing what a childhood is supposed to be. And it's really depressing, honestly, because when did some of these kids become so wildly entitled?
So my 6-year-old just come home from school with an invitation for one of the kids in school's birthday for Saturday. Not a problem. And then I start to read the invitation, and it says that he has a little brother, age 3, and he likes Spider-Man, this, that, and the other. Please send him a gift also, because we don't want him to be left out. What? I was floored. I was like, what? That's not our responsibility, hon. That's yours as a mother.
What the hell is this? Let me start off by saying this. I have 2 siblings, and out of all of our birthdays, mine comes first. I'm March 18th, my older sister is September 14th, and my younger brother is October 5th. And never once did they care if only I got a present on my birthday and not them, because we all kind of just understood that's how a birthday works. It's the day that you were born, not your siblings. So why should they get a present? My siblings never expected anything on the day that I was born, just like I never expected anything on the days that they were born. Because that defeats the entire purpose of a birthday if everyone gets a present too. It doesn't matter if it's not fair. That kid's day will eventually come every single year. Instead of telling struggling parents to spend even more of their hard-earned money on a completely different child with a completely different birthday, another present just so that they don't feel left out, teach your child to be patient and to wait, because his birthday is celebrated later in the year.
So all last night, my daughter was like, can I borrow your cup? Can I borrow your cup? This is the cup. She was like, she calls it a Stanley. She was like, can I take your Stanley to school tomorrow? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. Like, you can take it. She was like, all my friends use Stanley cups. Like, they all have cups like that. Like, I want to take it. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. Like, take it. So she goes and she's like, oh, I got a Stanley like you guys. And these little girls are like, that doesn't look like a Stanley. And she's like, yeah, it's a Stanley. Like, it looks like y'all's cup. And they're like, no, that's not a real Stanley. That's a fake Stanley. That's a knockoff. First of all, how do 4th graders know what the hell a knockoff is? And they're like, that's a knockoff. So one little girl comes up to her and she's like, show me the bottom of your Stanley. And I guess Stanleys have logos at the bottom or something. So my daughter's like showing her the cup and she's like, yeah, that's not real. Your mom can't afford to buy you a real one. So this weekend, guess who's gonna go get a little Stanley cup?
Again, I beg the question, what the hell is going on? When I was a kid and I was still going to school, the water bottle that you had to drink water out of when you were thirsty was the absolute least of anybody's concern. I cannot stress enough how much it did not matter. Not only is it crazy that literal children care about the brand of a water bottle, but the fact that her friends immediately started bullying her because there isn't a logo on the bottom of her cup is absolutely ridiculous. Like, what are these kids being fed nowadays? Like that mother said, it is genuinely bizarre that kids nowadays can tell the difference between a knockoff and the real thing. Not only that, but they also know where to look for it. I'm 21 years old and I am literally just now finding out that there's a logo at the bottom of the Stanley Cup. Who else knows that? When I was a kid, loom bands were all the rage. But while some girls were getting the official kits, other girls, such as yours truly, were getting the home brand kits in order to participate in the trend within a budget. And you know what? Not a single girl cared. Loom bands were loom bands. Period. It did not matter what brand it came from. My iPad kid niece decided to sit at a separate table for 2 so that she'd have the space for her iPad. I am really worried for the future. If this is the kind of stuff we're already seeing, imagine how bad it's going to get in some 20 odd years. The silent generation didn't have iPads at the table. Baby boomers didn't have iPads at the table. Gen X didn't have iPads at the table. Millennials Millennials didn't have iPads at the table. Hell, Gen Z didn't even have iPads at the table. So we don't know what the repercussions of this are going to be like when they are adults in the future. Because we have no prior experience beforehand of kids sitting by themselves at a different table watching their iPad instead of talking and interacting with their family members, and what that does to a child's mind and how that affects them as an adult. We don't know because we never had this before. We're not only enabling kids to completely immerse themselves in an iPad at all times, but what social skills that are entirely necessary are they going to develop by doing this? If you always give them a separate table to use their iPad when you go out, they're always going to want to do that because they're conditioned to do that. So they're either going to throw a massive tantrum if you don't let them do it, or they're going to be completely and utterly dumbfounded as to how they're supposed to hold a regular conversation with their family members or their friends over a meal if they've never ever been expected to do that while growing up. Y'all need to be teaching your children how to exist in and out of public without an iPad. This kid has zero reaction to anything that's happening on the TV. He is, for lack of a better word, completely brain rotted. He's not laughing. He's not scratching his head in confusion. He's not reaching for the remote to try and find something else to watch. Instead, he's just sitting there consuming an AI generated video of Mr. Beast dancing to a sped up track of somebody talking. And that's entertaining him. So much so to the point where the babysitter could quite literally up and leave and he would not even notice. Nor would he even care. Guys, this is just one of the many reasons why kids should not be using the internet this young. And it is incredibly important that we stop with the YouTube shorts and the TikToks with these kids already and raise Gen Alpha and Gen Beta on the old cartoons that previous generations grew up on to regulate their emotions a lot better. Because this kid isn't just sitting there mindlessly watching Mr. Beast dancing. He's actually engaging in other activities without throwing a tantrum that technology is being taken away from him by playing and engaging with his toys at the same time. And that is the childhood that a large majority of Gen Beta miss out on, and that probably the entirety of Gen Beta is going to miss out on. And their childhood is making me sad because, well, it's barely childhood for them anymore. There is no awkward stage during their childhood for them to grow out of. And it is sad. There's no chance or no opportunity for them to just be silly kids for a few short years who couldn't care less about their aesthetics. Because this was me when I was 12. I was a complete dork. Do I cringe looking back at myself as a kid? Absolutely. But I'm happy that I was able to be a stupid kid for a little while without any cares in the world before I had to start caring about my weight every single day and the way that I do my hair and the makeup that I put on my face and the clothes that I wear. I am so glad that there was a period in my life where I didn't care about that. So the fact that that doesn't exist anymore breaks my heart. And no, it's not just social media's fault that this is happening. It's also happening because of retail stores that have completely abandoned fashion for children and put shit like this on mannequins for kids to wear. Where is the color? Where are the graphic designs? Where are the inspirational quotes in cursive fonts? Where are the TV show characters? Where are the silly patterns? Let kids' clothes be kids' clothes again.
Y'all, I let my daughter use my iPad for a little bit, a couple days, because her iPad, the home button don't work. Why I grab my iPad? Yeah, I want to die right now. I want to die. Why is my iPad growing mold? Why is my iPad growing freaking mold? Y'all, I open up my iPad. First of all, it stinks. I open up my iPad, bro. It's mold all on the freaking case. My iPad freaking stinks. It's like...
And that is precisely why kids that young shouldn't be using technology exactly. Not only is it rotting their minds, but they do not know how to clean up after themselves or take care of such expensive luxuries yet. So of course they're going to let it mold. It's a toddler. How is it that some people are going to look at literal toddlers and think to themselves, yeah, you know what? After these 11 months, I think you've shown me that you're adult enough to use $1,000 iPad. Wouldn't you agree? Because I think so. When a toddler doesn't even know how to hold a cup for themselves yet. They can't drink milk without you. No offense, but do some parents nowadays have even the slightest clue of what they're doing? Especially because some parents now literally encourage their 5-year-old daughters to have their very own mini fridge stocked to the brim with skincare products that they stock themselves. Like, she's still a baby. She doesn't need this stuff for over a decade at the very least. And if she wanted to pretend, then just give her some toys from Kmart, not the real deal. When I was 5 years old, my Gen X mother would have never given me a bubble skincare routine, a hydrating mask, under eye pads for puffy eyes, and mysterious skincare related liquids inside of these rinky dinky ass shapes that are meant to be rolled all over your face. Like, are you kidding me? I was just told to brush my teeth and brush my hair before going to bed at night. What makes y'all think any of this is imperative now? And why the hell do kids need pop-in headphones? Why do they need a fidget toy on the headphones they use to mindlessly consume content on their iPads? What exactly does this do that benefits them in any way, shape, or form? God, I am just struggling to understand why this was created for any other reasons but exploitation and greed. I just think that when younger kids are acting older than the actual kids that are actually older than them, then it's a legitimate problem. Because where's the fun and the life and the joy in their rooms nowadays? I remember I used to have Ariana Grande posters splayed all across my walls and my favorite bath bombs displayed on silly shelves on my wall when I was 12. Anyways, guys, that's my boomer rant over. I just hope that Gen Z collectively agrees that when we all have children in the future, we're gonna keep the iPads far away from them and raise them the way they should be raised. On old Disney movies, on old Cartoon Network cartoons, and on old Nickelodeon cartoons. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Mwah! I love you all so much, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys!